Hey everyone, and welcome to the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports podcast. I'm your host, Josh. SalvationsElite to my right is Bash_Bo3, and to our farthest right today, unfortunately, Rex Shady Nero will not be joining us online today, but we got a ton to talk about today. Bold predictions for the CDL and a ton to talk about. Challengers drama in the scene. So much going on.
Yeah. Parasite
v Censor.
Wow.
Some wild stuff. GAs galore with the pros going crazy on Twitter, and a whole bunch more to talk about, of course, when it comes to the official format for the CDL. A ton to talk about this week. Before we get into that, guys, I've got to ask, what's going on?
What?
Oh my goodness, baby. We have Rex Shady Nero in studio.
Well, Josh,
look what he's wearing.
I am feeling disgusting right now. Like an earthworm who's just grimy and gross with dirt all over me. You're making me wear this. I am held hostage. Get this out of here, you disgusting caterpillar with your hundreds of legs.
Well, if you guys didn't piece that together, I had Rex throw on this Oak Boys hat for the intro here, and he lost it. But Sam, how you doing today, dude? This is an exciting one. Rex came in with the fire. This is presented by Oak Boys.
We have the best of 3.
We do.
In-house.
What?
If this is your first episode listening, you're really confused. Like, wow, this is Rex Shady Nero, dude. This guy sucks. He's the worst. But,
my God.
Yeah, dude.
Wait.
This is exciting. Okay. This is really exciting. We're all here today. Sam's hyped, the most hype he's ever been.
Absolutely.
We're a little crowded today. You know, I mean, we don't have a good table for this.
Yeah, hey, you know what?
We're working with what we got.
You know what?
But man, I wasn't over exaggerating how much we got to talk about today. A whole bunch. We had a little bit of a late start today because we have some tech issues, but I think we finally got those sorted, and we're ready to go. So we'll try to keep this thing short and sweet, but you can listen on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube.
Yes.
And, you can drop a comment on YouTube, but you can also drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And we're going to read one today. Podcast Lord says, heart, 5 stars. Best CoD Esports podcast out there. No debate. The only thing I don't like is that I didn't find out about these guys sooner. Look forward to the new episodes every week. Keep up the great content. Here's a debate. Who had a better rookie year, Simp or Shotzzy? And he says, my vote is Simp, based on the fact that Shotzzy had the past experience being in winning Halo tournaments, where it was Simp's first time playing on the main stages. Would love to hear your opinions. Much love.
Should this be our quick question?
Beams_FL.
Could be a quick question if we wanted it to be.
I mean, do we want it to be?
Sure.
Why not? Quick question time, like we normally do. Quick question. Who had the better rookie season, Simp or Shotzzy? Of course, Simp came in hot in Black Ops 4, winning the CWL playoffs in Miami, and then back-to-back going to COD Champs and winning COD Champs, which is a pretty insane start. Of course, BZ was on that team. Team was kind of stacked, but thoughts?
But then Shotzzy, he played the whole season, and by the end of the season, his beginning, terrible, but then near the end, MVP, Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Simp only played less than half the season.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So, I don't know. That's a tough debate for me, to be honest.
It's kind of hard to compare the two, I suppose.
They both end with a champs win.
They both end with champs win.
Although Simp was named MVP of champs, but Shotzzy was also named MVP of the season.
Yeah, and he could have been in champs too.
It was Crim.
And Shotzzy's movement is out of this world.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
I mean, Simp snipes, Shotzzy doesn't.
True.
He had those insane plays, and he had the most unbelievable S&D game of all time in BO4s. That was crazy, but I don't know. What's your opinion?
I think I'm gonna go. I think Simp, honestly.
Really?
I think I'm gonna go with Simp.
Wow, that's so off brand for you.
I know. I was kind of thinking Shotzzy, but Simp, I hate saying it, he kind of legit was a pretty big carry for that team.
He was a literal guy. Abizi was insane though.
Yeah, and Shotzzy was. I guess it's hard to say Shotzzy was because he had more of, I guess, a really strong team around him.
Insane supporting cast.
Yeah, so it's hard to make that debate, but I would say Simp because he really had to be a real all-star to win, where Shotzzy, if he wasn't performing, other people could cover his weight more.
Oh, interesting.
Shotzzy.
Okay.
We'll go Shotzzy. I think for what he had to overcome, he he had a lot of people.
No
putting
main
him
stages
down.
the second half of the year, though. It was
No.
online.
It is true.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think what he figured out, like a lot of people were trying to copy Shotzzy, movement wise.
True.
I mean, he was setting the
setting the meta.
He revolutionizes the movement, the meta.
That is a good argument.
Mhm.
I mean, I think the X factor for me is the fact that you're playing in front of thousands of people as Simp and literally dominating no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And Clay gets his first tournament win when Simp comes on board and all that goes down. So I'm going to say Simp as well, but I mean, they're in both unbelievable. So, but yeah, we got a ton to go over today inside the news section. I don't even know how we're going to keep this thing as short as we'd like to keep this thing today, but holy moly. So with that said, I think we can get right into the news of the week. So let's get right into it. Let's go.
The Call of Duty News of the Week.
It's a big week in the CDL for many reasons, but I mean, we've got to start up. I mean, there's some big news this week when it comes to the format and so many other things, but come on. I mean, do you see what I'm wearing today? The Paris Legion have tweeted for the first time, and we talked about what would their tweet be. Was this going to be a big roster reveal? Was this going to be an incredible tweet that broke the internet? Oh baby, it was.
Hey Josh, that hoodie's pretty fire.
It's
it's pretty fire.
But with that said, we should probably hit the drop because
what's wrong with Paris?
Welcome to What's Wrong with Paris. So cheesy. That was fire, dude.
Dude, so fire. I feel so cool right now.
What's wrong with everyone at the same time?
Yeah, that was fire, dude.
That was
fire.
fire.
Emojis everywhere, bro.
Fire.
So if you guys didn't see, like Sam said, they tweeted in a reply to Spoof's tweet. In a reply to Spoof's tweet. This is their return to Twitter after literally over 2 months.
Yeah.
They reply to Spoof with a fire emoji.
Yeah.
It's kind of unbelievable.
Yeah.
Have they even announced? They haven't even announced their roster.
They
Did they
sure
even
haven't.
announce their coach?
Nope.
They didn't
Theory?
announce it's Theory, but did they announce it officially?
I don't think so.
They didn't even announce their coach officially on Twitter or anything.
Yeah, and then they retweeted a fire so they've basically been retweeting people.
Yeah.
They've just been retweeting the CoD League. They retweeted Carson for the CoD League stats with all of the stats for the scouting series, and then they retweeted the format and the DLC stuff, the stuff that they literally have to do for their job, probably as part of the league.
Yeah, CoD League's getting real mad. It's like, guys, you gotta do something.
Do something.
Just
Yeah.
retweet us. Anything.
Yeah.
Rex,
And so
if you had to guess 100 tweets that Paris could have came back with, would the fire emoji have been in that 100?
No, I thought for sure it would
You had a
have
little
been
bit more
like
faith.
a roster. Like I did have more faith in Paris. Like, come on. Like, do they not, like, how are they making money?
Yeah.
That's my big question for Paris. What are they
again, it's just the league share revenue. That's what they're going for here. They're just hoping that all the other teams blow up, the league blows up, and they just split. It's the
They just
revenue
ride it.
share.
Yeah.
And they're riding that revenue share wave.
I mean, those teams had to be so mad at Paris.
mean,
like, they're not helping the
how many of these
branding
do
at
you think
all.
exist?
I mean, this got to be like 1,000 maybe.
That's generous.
Is that generous?
That is generous.
I am curious. Like, I wonder if they'll ever put out the stats about like what hoodies are bought the most and like who's the
Yeah,
lowest.
the
and who's the
NFL does
highest.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Do they
like to
really?
see
Yeah.
that because I would like a Paris Legion hoodie just because I find it fun and ironic and like.
Yeah, dude, I know. I was so hyped to get
like
one
a
of these. They
relic.
did the whole fire sale, and I bought like 5 or 6 hoodies or whatever.
Yeah.
And including this shout out Dallas Empire Champions hat. Which is
Dope,
pretty
bro.
cool.
It's dope.
Yeah, dude. But a lot going on there. But that was just absolutely crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, we're still expecting some sort of official roster announcement here soon. I mean, that team continues to play together. I mean, it seems like that is their roster.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
it's got to be.
Yeah. So at this point,
100%.
it's like, bruh, What in the world?
How'd they not confirm Theory as their coach yet? He literally was making their picks.
Right. Like everyone knows, and they haven't tweeted about it.
No.
Yeah. And then they replied to a guy who the coach picked up him to play as their, like, it's just like.
So weird, dude.
They basically just confirm it's their coach, but don't actually make any sort of announcement about it.
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. So that was exciting news for us, to
It was.
say the least. When Paris tweeted, we got tagged in a handful of tweets, and so
been a
shout out
long
everybody.
journey.
Shout out everybody who tweeted us, or
Yes.
tagged us in those tweets, because that was a bunch of fun. But man, oh man, we got to lead now with the truly big news of the week.
Yes.
The CDL announced their official season format for the year, and so
It's exciting.
basically how this is going to break down is they didn't announce the specific dates, but they did announce the specific format. So how it works is home series are completely different nowadays.
Yeah.
There isn't some home series tournament now. We have 5 majors throughout the year with home series leading into them. And so what they're going to title it as is a home series is basically each weekend there will be a handful of matches played, about basically 10 matches for the CDL played. Each team in the 3 weeks leading up to a major tournament
Mhm.
will play 5 matches.
Mm.
And there's 5 home series. So during the regular season, each team will play 25 pool play matches
Mhm.
or round robin matches throughout the year. And then they'll play in 5 tournaments, 5 majors with all
Majors.
12 teams attending, which is a big difference from last year,
Yes.
Mm.
where we only had 8 teams at the home series. Now we have all 12 at these 5 majors. And so that's kind of the big news. I mean, basically champs, 8 teams qualify, not
Mhm.
12.
Mhm.
And the majors are sorted out. Majors are seeded like champs was last year, where the bottom 4 teams start in the losers bracket, and then the top 8 teams start in the winners, and the top 2 get like really long buys. The next 2 get like one bye, and then from there. So
Yeah.
thoughts on the format as a whole? Where are you at with this? Opinions. Rex, our
Honest-
special guest.
Honestly, I honestly like it a lot. I think it caters to like every single type of thing that you would want. Like champs is now even like, it's still made a really big deal because
Yeah.
it matters. These round robins, it matters about these majors. And plus, not every team's going anymore. So you're not going to see something crazy happen like Paris coming out and just winning champs.
Right. Every
'Cause,
good team's there every week.
Like,
or every major.
exactly. So like at champs, it's going to be a big deal. And if teams don't get into champs, like they deserve not to be there. And you don't want to see a team like that win. Kind of
Yeah.
like what we saw in World War II when EG won, where it's just like, why?
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe that could still happen.
I mean,
you know?
yeah,
Shout out
sure,
Apes.
sure. But they won't be at champs because they played so bad the whole year.
Sure, okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. saying.
And then like I like the minors and I like how they have the majors set up. Honestly, I like it a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exciting.
I'm a big fan of teams being able to get to play, like their first match isn't like so important. Like, and last year, you lose your first match, you're already down. Like
You're down bad.
you're down
Mhm.
bad. This time, like you get 5 matches that are just to get seeded into the major. So like you got
Right.
practice.
Well, and last year as well, the seeding all of the home series before the year even started.
Yeah.
Where then you got some at the end of the year, the Rocker were absolutely screwed
Mhm.
in their pool play because they had literally 3 of the top 4 or 3 of the top 5 teams in the last 3 tournaments in
Yeah.
their pool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was like they were absolutely screwed from the beginning.
Mhm.
With their seedings in champs. They were lucky to finish in the top 8
Yeah.
for
honestly.
champs, going
Mhm.
into champs. So yeah, that's actually really interesting. I mean, basically with how they seed the majors now, and like with
Mhm.
how they're gonna be spaced out, it's a little bit weird. So I mean, in any given of these home series weekends, your favorite team is gonna play either 2 matches or even just 1 match.
Mhm.
So out of those 3 weekends, your team is only going to play 1 match one of those weekends,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of annoying.
Strange.
Not ideal.
Yeah.
Like if you're like an OpTic fan and you're like, oh, I'm so excited to watch them play this week.
Mhm.
And then they're playing Paris this weekend. It's their
Right.
only match. And you have to 1 match for 4 days and that's
Yeah.
it. So the viewership, I feel like, could be pretty inconsistent for the home series.
It could be.
Yeah, I mean, like they're like the minors basically, and then once you
Yeah.
get through the minors, like that's what you get with those like season type play things, and like I like that format because like it just makes champs even more important, and they're kind of just like taking another step with it, where it's like now the majors are still really important, but
Yeah.
all the teams are there.
True.
And then like you have the round robin matches happening with these minors, and so like those matches are still going to count for something.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like last year, they gave out $50,000 each tournament to the winner for the home series, and then there's 12 of them. So this year there's only 5. So it'll be interesting to see like how much money goes to each winner each of these tournaments versus champs, and like how the bonuses work for like CDL points. Like if you win, like last year you won a home series, you got 10 bonus points. Which is basically counted as like 1 extra win. But like now that all 12 teams are going to be there for the majors, like I wonder how they're going to seed out the pro point or the CDL point like prizes as well.
What's weird too though,
which they did not announce.
What's weird too is like I don't know how this is going to work, but they're calling it for each major. There's 3 home series. So it's like,
how are they going to be spread out?
How are they going to be spread out? Like, so like, what you were saying is like each, like it's basically back to back to back.
Will you get 4 straight weeks or not?
Yeah. And then it's like who gets to host three additional home series because there's going to be 15 home series.
Oh yeah. How does that work?
Yeah. So like I don't know what.
And will there be a launch event? We don't know.
Yeah. So like that's just kind of strange. But again, since it's all online, it technically doesn't really matter who's hosting.
No.
And like all the players are
it's
in
more
Dallas
just a brand
or
thing.
or in Texas anyway. So yeah, it's kind of weird like why they didn't just do, I don't know. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, that's the other thing we don't know is that will we get like if there's only 5 home series or 5 majors, I mean, between January and August, that's 8 months that you got to fill there. So you could have some significant amounts of time off between certain major then into the next home series matches. So you could have like 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
Which would be really sucky. So I don't know if they're gonna like space out the home series like you said, where it's like every other week leading into it.
Or it's gonna be like all in a row, spaced in a major space.
Home series, major, 3 weeks off.
Yeah,
home series, major, 3 weeks off.
Which would be kind of a weird thing. I don't know. Maybe it'd be cool. Like you get 4 weeks of COD, and then you're willing to wait 2-3 weeks for the next one, or is it going to be like we like have a drought of COD? I don't know how
the fun of last year. I mean, the fun of last year was that there was COD every weekend.
Yeah.
Which I mean, besides of course there was the whole Corona thing where we had like 6 weeks of no COD or something. But then after Rona, after that started back up online, we had like an insane amount of COD, which was tons of fun.
Yeah.
And when I first heard this, I was like, oh my word, each team is going to play 5 matches every weekend or every home series. I'm like, holy cow, that's so much COD.
Crazy.
But then I'm it's only 5 per 3 weeks?
Per 3 home series.
That's not much COD.
Yeah.
Like last year, I talked about this in my video, but FaZe played 33 regular season matches.
Not including champs. Yeah.
So this year they would be guaranteed 25 plus whatever happens at the majors, which I'm sure FaZe will do well. But a bad team that doesn't do well, that's starting in the losers bracket of these tournaments, they could only play 30 matches. So you're not really guaranteeing much more COD than last year, if any, and that's over a longer period of time. So not ideal in my head. I would have liked to see a little bit more COD because pros were complaining about not enough COD last year.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that worries me with that format. I don't know. Any other negative thoughts there?
I mean, I'm curious what the break's going to be like between champs. Like we're going through like regular season, I guess. And then how long is the break going to be there? Are they going to put how much break are they going to put there?
Right, between regular season and champs.
Yeah.
If
it's going to be too long, or because I'd like to see a little bit of like wait time personally, because it builds the hype.
It was 3 weeks last year because we had the Challengers champs in there.
That's right.
I think it was 3 weeks, which I'd imagine they're probably going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Now that we've got the only thing that I can think of is that they're going to schedule the Elite Series to fill the gaps, which would be cool. If that's the case, that's cool.
Yes, for sure.
So if we have a 3 weeks off and then that's the 3 weeks where the Elite Series is happening for the amateurs,
I'd be so down for that.
Okay, now we can focus on amateurs.
Yes, and it builds that amateur hype scene and everything.
So if that's the case, and then we have at least some amount of COD every single weekend, and that's how they're going to try to link it together, I could see that.
That'd be really cool. Yeah. I really like that because you're right. Like everyone who's not watching the Pro League is like, well, let's watch the Challengers League, and it brings more eyes. And then,
We got to
Perfect.
have something to talk about, something to watch, something. Yeah, that'd be cool. And you're gonna have all the casters there for it then.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe
Hey,
that would be the cool way to do it. I
that
think
would be cool.
which would get me excited about this.
I like that.
I just realized you never get to see us when we're recording these.
No, it's
And for
real
you- for you
weird.
guys back
I'm
there.
sitting here like staring
It's
at
like,
him
hey,
like, wow, am I supposed to
we're
be like
real.
looking at
Yeah,
them
yeah.
now?
The insight for you guys out there, normally when we record, we can see Rex, but Rex can't see us because of like a amount of monitors he needs to see everything and everything else.
Yeah.
So he's not able to see us when we record. So Rex, this is a rarity for him.
I know.
crazy.
Yeah, it's
So much to
strange.
look at, you know?
People.
I know,
Whoa.
wow.
Yeah.
This is what outside's
We're-
like. What are these creatures?
I know, it's wild. It's wild. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think that's where I get excited about it. But I mean, any other thoughts on the format at all? No.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm excited for it personally.
Rate the format out of 10. Give it a good rating here.
I'm gonna give it 7 right now.
Okay.
7.
All right. I'll
Yeah.
give it a 7.6.
Okay,
7
8. I like it. I'm gonna
Oh,
put it
okay.
an 8.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. All right. So let's move on to the scouting series and kind of the challengers talk for a little bit here. So, there was a lot that went on this week. I mean, holy moly.
was
We had the
crazy.
whole challenger series and so much that went on through that. Basically, we had the drafts.
Yep.
We had the streams. All these weeks, we ended up having 3 days of scouting series to talk about and go through. So overall thoughts on the scouting series. First of all, where you at with the scouting series? How do you feel like it was executed? Rex, you were a little bit worried going into it about how the coaches would take it. Let's start with Rex.
I would say, I could call out where I think the best stream was. I mean, I think Joey Nubsy probably had the best stream for it. I really wish there would have been some sort of like dedicated stream
Yeah.
that you could see.
yeah, that
like,
was really annoying.
I mean, like Shift, like I think Shift really helped a lot in like
Yeah.
building hype with it and like the drafting of it all and like keeping everybody updated. He even had that Google Doc for those of you like paid attention,
that was
which
awesome.
really helped a lot.
yeah, dude.
But it shouldn't be on Shift to have to do all that work.
Seriously.
Like that's a lot of work he had
That's
to
insane.
do that, and like the league should definitely be
Right,
a
there should
part
have been
of
a
this
league
more.
sanctioned. Like this is the massive doc for all these things. Like here's the website to go
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
follow up on these things.
And I wish there would
It's
have been more of like
crazy.
a formal draft that happened.
right.
I wish the players would have taken it a little more seriously. I wish some of the coaches would have taken it more seriously.
Again, man, like there's so much
Some did good.
opportunity to make it
I
epic.
know.
Like
Yes.
imagine if you come out here and you have Johanna Ferries, like the NFL does, announcing the picks. With the first pick,
Yes.
you know, then the New York Subliners take Standy, and then with the second pick,
Yes.
Yeah,
they take
insane.
Venom, or whatever. So it's
I
like,
know.
And I know it's like glorified eights or whatever, but like this, it could have been a huge platform for these guys.
Mhm.
And they wouldn't be going in with such like a negative mindset about it. Like a lot of them did. On that 4th day, EU didn't even like show up.
yeah, and then they just end up canceling.
And then NA was like dropping. Yeah, maybe it was the 4th day they canceled. And it was just like, why?
I know.
Like there was so much potential there. And it
Right.
just like, they blew it.
Yeah.
But some
Right.
coaches did well. Some coaches, I think, did not do their part very well with it. Did not
Yeah.
take it too seriously.
or they didn't even stream it at all.
They didn't even stream it at all, which like, come on. Like,
Mhm.
Right.
you're supposed to be there for these
Dude, I
guys. These
know,
guys want to
man.
impress these coaches.
I know.
It's so close, man.
I know.
It's so close.
Yeah.
But the
Like, could you
idea is
imagine
there.
if they had an official stream, they do that announcement, they have Johanna Ferries announcing the picks,
Yeah.
and then after you get picked, you can get a little interview like what the NBA draft would do after, or NFL would do after you get picked. You do a little interview, you come into the Discord, they interview you, they talk to you.
Yeah. We'll talk to the coaches too about why they picked this player and like
Right.
make these coaches who like are super laissez-faire about it all, like make them care more and have to say something about why they chose
Oh, man, it could have
these
been
players
such a
instead of just
cool.
randomly
It could have been
choosing
such a
them.
cool like broadcast, bro. There's so much potential there, and like the content creator in me is like, dude, this would be so cool.
Yes.
If we could make it like the NFL draft or NBA draft or something like that.
Yeah.
But then it was just like they were in a Discord call, and then you have Shift typing it up in a Google Doc, and
I
then
know.
Yeah.
it feels like we're in 2014 doing like a little homemade broadcast.
I mean,
Right.
truly, yeah. Like they had to create it all themselves and create the hype for it. Like I was even expecting this to happen, and I still was like trying to make sure I could find the right places to go.
Yeah, I mean,
You know
if,
what I mean?
Impossible.
again, if it's not for CDL Intel, no one has any clue what's going on.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the CoD League Twitter doesn't tweet anything.
Mhm.
Like,
yeah. They should have had some sort of stream for it. They should have tweeted out where to find at least these coaches' streams.
right, or a website that has an up-to-date sheet of all the scores.
Yeah.
And then there's the draft results. Basically what Shift's doc was, but like in a website form.
Yeah, and more
Yeah.
pre-planned too, because like I don't even know if they knew what teams were going to playing like who until the day of the
day
draft,
of.
which is like, come on, like give us what teams are going to play who.
Yeah.
And the coaches didn't even know that they were playing like 2 matches in a day.
Mhm.
They just thought they
Yeah.
were only playing one.
Some people didn't know they were supposed to play a full 5 maps no matter what the you know, map count was.
Yeah,
like,
I'll give you that mic update again here. Just keep that thing in front of you.
But yeah, he's literally gonna be the whole time just eating the
Yeah.
mic.
Yeah, just eating the mic. But yeah, just keep that thing nice in front of you.
You kind of wondered too about like
Yeah.
YouTube's partnership. Like, were they pissed that all the streams were happening on Twitch?
Right?
You know
And
what I
yeah,
mean?
it's
Yeah.
like, the CDL Intel's out here, sending 1,000 people to Nubsy's
To
stream
Twitch.
or to Saint's stream or whoever. Yeah, on Twitch.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
did like YouTube that called like, hey, why in the heck are these not being put on
That's
YouTube?
such a good point.
Which like I'm assuming YouTube's partnership is still happening.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So it's like, yeah, that's weird to me. Like this was definitely a league
sanctioned thing.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Weird.
that is weird.
Mhm.
That's a really good point, actually.
Yeah.
But Nubsy definitely had the best stream for that.
Yeah. He was cool.
Because he
Yeah.
actually would talk through, and even like when a play, he's like, "Oh, I don't know if that was the right play. Like that's
Yeah.
an amateur play to do something like make this move and do that." We'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that was impressive to make it,
Yeah.
make
For
that
sure,
play."
dude. Out of all the streaming days, like out of all the days, out of all the coaches, day one Nubsy with Shift was by far the best because
It was fun.
they were both breaking down what was going on. Nubsy was like legitimately like a decent COD like caster.
He is.
Like,
Yeah, well, even he like just the way he
I
like
was
gave
like-
input, like
Yeah.
I gained so much more respect for him there, just because like he's like he wanted his teams to win. He would talk to his teams before the games and like hype them up and like talk about, okay, this is what like I kind of want to do. Like it was
really good.
Yeah,
His voice is super calming too.
Yeah, exactly.
Got a good voice.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Nubsy, by the way, for grinding the weight loss, bro.
Dude,
That's
yeah,
insane.
shout out
Over 100
Nubsy.
pounds?
It's incredible.
What in the world?
He's looking good, dude.
I have so
Yeah.
much respect for him now.
Props, man.
Yeah,
Nice job.
yeah.
Shout out Numsy.
I mean, yeah, we're all simping for Nubsy, but we can't
Yeah.
say it in the Twitch chat.
Oh, yeah. Can't say
Yikes.
that. Can't
That's
say
for another
that.
podcast.
Right? But yeah, so thoughts on what do you think of, like, let's talk about some players and some things that we learned in this. So
Yeah.
a really cool post that was on Reddit was the like a massive doc of like stats from the games, and
Yeah.
I thought the most interesting thing that anyone did was get the average draft position
Mhm.
of players throughout the
Yep.
tournament, which gave you kind of a look into how the players think about certain guys and kind of
Yep.
like a feel for unanimous players that are really liked across the board by teams. To put that into perspective, the highest drafted player was Standy at on average the 2.7th pick.
Yeah. And he
Uh,
plays for Triumph.
Yep.
Yep.
And he's been really good. Obviously won COD champs or amateur champs last year with
Mhm.
them and
Yeah.
was really, really good. Shout out Standy.
Mhm.
But yeah, so he was a beast. Venom was number 2 with a number 3, third average of 3. Paul X was third, 3.3. Diamond Con was 4, 3.7. Jimbo was 5th at 5. Hollow was 6, was interesting at 7. Or Hollow was 6 with a 5.7.
Yeah.
Zaptius was 6. We'll just go with Daft Patey was 7. Pentagram was 8. Blast 9. Gravity 10. Cells 11. Prolute 12. Royalty 13. Spart 14. So we'll just kind of stop there for now.
I was wondering where's
Yeah,
the
I was like,
cutoff.
how far are we going?
And Glow Frosty 15.
I mean, let's
going.
find a name that like Parasite. What number was he picked at here? I think it's a good one to talk about.
25.7.
I don't know. He's in the
whatever it is.
teens, high teens. I
Yeah,
think.
let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's it. So if it's 14 on the way down, then you guys are going to get out. But okay, so what stands out to you from like that kind of information? Thoughts on those guys at the top? Any thoughts there?
Babyface was obviously very high prioritized.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, which makes sense. They're all within the top 10.
West R, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15.
Babyface.
Okay, so 15. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think interestingly, Zaptius lost. Like he only won like 20% of his games, but he was like the 7th most picked person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but he lost most of the time, which I was like, what does that say? I know
Parasite
it's
was
glorified
26th.
8s, and you can say it doesn't mean anything, but I mean, Standy was picked first, and I think he was sitting around like 55% of his games where he was winning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's not be all end all because it's a random team you're being surrounded with. But
Yeah. It's hard. Like, I was thinking like really like Katie was really like the main stat to look at because you know, like you can go through like all the intangibles, you know, like leadership, and that probably wouldn't like really show up in this type of, you know, glorified eights.
Communication would.
I think it
Communication
would
for
if the
sure.
coach is like actually going in and like talking to him, which
Yeah.
some
Right.
didn't, but others did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think where you really got to see the most is like S&D instincts and
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
how to make plays and clutching up.
Yeah.
And
S&D.
I mean,
sure.
again, like for some of the middling AMs, this was really important for them
Mhm.
because,
Mhm.
again, this is what we talked about, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, about just like the fact that for the middling AMs, this honestly meant more to their careers than the top ones, because the top ones, they're the top AMs. Everybody knows they're
Yeah.
good.
They're already being looked at. Yeah.
And if they end up winning, they're going to be sought after. I mean, if they end up
Yeah.
winning this year, they're going to win. But
Mhm.
the middling players who are still trying to find that right squad to work with,
Yeah.
and they get a network with all the top AMs they've never been able to play with before, that was huge for them. And there were some guys that I had never heard of that, like, when they were put with some of these other players that were really good, they would look incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you never know. Some people might have found like new teammates through this as well.
Yeah.
Because they might be playing like, wow, I'm like really vibing with this guy on my
True.
team. Like we play really well together. Like, and he's thinking about leaving his team already. He's like, maybe I'll go team with this guy and find some other two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you never know.
True. Like it may have not really been for like the pro league people, but like just to find other teammates and
Mm-hmm.
within the challenger scene too. Yeah. That's huge.
which could help find those guys, give them a chance, and like get them to the top of the AM scene faster than before. 'Cause, I mean, I think that's a big grind sometimes, that some guys just aren't good at networking with the
True.
elite players.
Mhm.
Well, they probably some of them aren't even allowed in the same like eights lobbies, because if you're top tier, you got your own eights lobby. If you're middle tier, you got your own eights lobby,
Mhm.
and so on and so forth. So like some of these lower guys could play with these top guys and kind of show off.
True.
Also,
Yeah. They're forced to.
Yeah, I mean, like that first day in Nubsy's stream, the Hicksy kid.
Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah,
Hicksy
he
was
was
dominating.
good.
Yeah.
And he was talking some American football, so I'm like,
Nice.
let's go, baby. He,
Yeah.
he
There you
said he
go.
was a Browns fan. I'm like,
Okay.
the Browns.
Browns.
Mhm.
Interesting, you
Interesting.
know, but yeah, he was cool. I thought that was a fun one. But
Oh.
yeah, it was cool to get some insight in all of those streams and some of these guys that I've never even heard of before.
Yeah.
Like a guy like Hicksy. And see how he played. I thought that was really, really, really cool
Mhm.
overall.
Yeah.
Was there any other guys that kind of stuck out to you that were like really interesting in the EU scene as a whole? I don't know, or in the NA scene as well.
Mhm.
I mean, Whalers, I think, was playing pretty well.
Yeah, on that same team. in
Yeah, on that
first
same
day.
team in that first game.
I think Afro kind of proved that he's just a beast. Like throughout the
Absolutely.
whole time, he looked insane. Everyone knew it too. And inside of these like glorified eights, he looked really, really good as well.
Yeah, yeah.
He was one player.
Do we have the stats of how often his team was winning?
I can pull it up real quick.
I
yeah.
think it's just NA on here
Oh, is it?
because
Oh, that might be.
EU dropped out. So
Oh, that's tough if that's the case. But
Mm.
yeah. Anyway, I don't know if I have it then. But at the same time, like another stat that I thought was really, really cool, or something that was on the sheet that was really cool, was certain players who were drafted multiple times by the same team,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
could give you a little bit insight into what guys maybe they're looking at for a substitute spot down the road, and who they could sign. Again, most of these teams haven't signed a substitute yet, so they have to at some point.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at any of the guys that are currently in the AM scene to be a substitute, and then still play in the AM scene at the same time.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'll just go through all of these and just because I
Might
think
as
they're all
well.
pretty interesting.
Oh.
So Paris' Theory
well,
picked
who is the most winningest coach? Which team coach?
Theory.
It was
With
Theory of
Paris. Shout
Paris.
out
Well,
Paris.
Theory, unofficial coach of Paris.
Yeah, even though they're listed with Paris.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And his repeated drafted player was Zinx.
Yep.
And they were the most winning team. So, like, what does that say about Theory and his coaching, and what does that mean about Zinx?
Yeah. He definitely showed up for sure
Mhm.
and looked really good. They had a 70% win percentage in their games, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Zinx was Theory's pick. Minnesota and Saint, nobody was repeated. Very
Nobody.
interesting. Very
Mhm.
interesting. Funny enough, Bevels and LAG chose Exceed. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, you
considering
kinda
they're
have to.
already on their team in.
Yeah.
Revan in New York. Dav Patey was their most chosen player. Toronto and Marky B had Glow Frosty and Jerd as players who they repeatedly took, which is interesting.
Mhm.
I mean, Jerd that makes so much sense for that roster.
For sure.
So I could see Jerd end up being there as a substitute.
Yeah.
Seattle, Cells, and Saints, interestingly enough, were
Mhm.
guys. Cells was a really interesting pick. Nubsy was really high on Cells. He
He
praised
really
him.
was,
He
yeah.
praised him a lot. Sender chose Apox multiple times.
Hmm.
Interestingly enough, Florida and Atura chose Brack and Charles multiple times, which I think that makes a lot of sense for them. Brack and those guys and Skies and Brack
Yeah.
only makes sense for that relationship there. And then Easy Mac, dude, Easy Mac, the homie, Atlanta chose Censor and Ryza, which is, again, Ryza's obviously been very, very good.
Nice.
And then, of course, London would dominate. They chose Zed multiple times as well. So that would only make sense as well.
Absolutely.
Thoughts overall?
I mean, who knows? Might see some of these guys come up onto sub spots, and potentially, if players aren't playing well, we could see these guys back in the league, like guys like Jerd and
yeah. I mean, last year we saw basically every team just chose an established pro as their substitute. I mean, do you expect that again this year?
I don't. I mean, last year we saw so many substitutes come in and kind of take over for their
during
team.
the year.
Like Mac Melts, Awakening, they all came in and kind of saved their teams.
Right.
So I imagine teams are actually going to try and find a sub, just unless it's like, let's say OpTic, Empire, like they're never going to use their subs.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but other teams like Mutineers are probably going to want a really good sub. Seattle, I hope they don't mess up again. I hope they get like a really good sub,
Yeah. OpTic, LAG. Well, LAG already has theirs, but yeah.
Yeah, there's something to be said about like
New York.
try and find like your possible like mystery hero that is like your AM that is going to save your team if you need it.
Yeah, and a big difference from last year was that at the beginning of the year, if you were a sub, you couldn't actually play in the challenger scene. So,
but now you can.
So that encouraged like veterans to kind of take those spots.
Yeah.
So now, you have no reason not to take the best AM available as your substitute. And it only makes sense for the amateur as well, because either you're going to go up to play in the CDL or you're getting paid to play in the amateur scene. So I would expect that we're going to see some really interesting substitutes over the next few weeks here, but I'm not expecting like anyone to sign one, at least for a little while.
Probably not, no.
Still. Or at least not announce it.
No.
Yeah.
For a little while though. Okay. Other things in challenger scene. Thoughts overall with what's going on. I mean, I don't want to spend too much more time here with all. I mean, we can cover the Parasite Censor drama real quick, I guess. I mean, that was nuts. What was going on today. And so basically the drama here is it all started when Parasite said that they were in an 8th lobby
stream or something.
On an 8th lobby right before the scouting series. If we get drafted on the same team, talking about Censor, I will be sick.
Yeah.
I will not be able to play.
Yeah.
Which
And
is weird.
He said basically, I refuse
So
to play with
strange.
Censor in the scouting series.
It's just so
I refuse.
Which
so petty.
was kind of mind-boggling to me because I was like, I don't. I feel like I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I thought maybe they might be a good like pairing a little bit.
Censor's just all about the win.
Censor's all about the win. Censor doesn't mind being corrected. Censor, and Parasite, if people's problem with him is that he's very like, he corrects you. And
He needed a certain way.
And so Censor, I feel like they could bounce off each other really well.
It must be some deep-seated.
Something must have happened.
I mean, there must be some hate there.
I mean, they have a long history of playing against each other.
And I mean, this is all on Parasite. Like Censor is not even because Censor was willing to play with them. Censor's like, okay, like if you're playing it, like,
Censor
yeah, 100%.
didn't even know what to say. He was like,
no, he was
"What?"
shocked.
It was weird.
He's just
Like he was literally shell shocked. He stood there and he was just like,
he's
and
like,
then he
wow.
like muted his mic and then went to talk to stream. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It was
weird.
just I don't.
Yeah,
It was very
Haggy,
strange.
man. Like,
Yeah, that was crazy. And then
Help yourself.
today, basically it went back again. And so what happened is that Temp was in the Codcast stream and Censor was mentioned, and Temp said Censor's never going to be good. And then they ended up hosting Censor with the viewers. And then Censor went on a rant about how bad Challengers is and the players and GAs. This kind of transition to the GA conversation and why Parasite can't be trusted to make GAs. And he was going off on Parasite and like how he doesn't know what he's talking about and things like that. So it went wild.
It was weird.
Here and got really personal between Parasite and Censor. Like, holy.
but I mean, Parasite
moly.
fired shots first.
Yeah.
Like that is kind of ridiculous. I hope all the best for Haggy and everything like he's trying to do. But like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a scouting series. Like
I know.
Everyone's calling glorified eights. Like no one cares. And then he goes and does something like that. Where it's like, well, clearly maybe you do then. Like
yeah.
It just made no sense.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, we got to keep it moving here. So let's move on to the big. I mean, this is going to be a long topic as well. This is going to be the GAs, man.
Yeah.
So, holy cow. Again, this is part of what Censor was going off about on Parasite about with how Parasite's been so nitpicky with the GAs. Censor's on the side that they should just follow the pro GAs. At this point, pros decide the GAs, and you go down from there. Parasite, because they're so separated now, Parasite wants full-on amateur GAs and wants them to be a certain way with how he believes the game should be run, and a lot of guys are with him on that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Parasite's is like the ringleader of that either.
Right.
I don't
he
think
does have a lot of influence because he plays with so many guys, but a lot of guys don't like him now in the AM scene.
Well,
so
he is the biggest voice, but I mean, he's not even the head of like that lobby. It's somebody else.
Yeah, so basically today, as of today, there was a handful of things in the past week that have got announced when it comes to GAs. Yeah. And the first thing is that people want to take out Crossroads for Raid.
Yes.
Specifically in Hardpoint, especially, and in like Respawn as a whole. And then the 1911 and the Magnum as pistols were officially added to the list of GAs. And then in the EU side of things, the AK is still banned. In the NA side of things, there was a massive debate about whether the AK should be allowed or not allowed, and it ended up being allowed. And then the biggest debate was, should damaged barrels be GA'd or not, as a result of the most recent patch where the Krieg's headshot multiplier was basically removed and kind of threw a balance off with long-range gunfights versus the AK-74U, and a whole debate there. And officially, the NA scene has now GA'd all damage and range increasing barrels. So wild day in the GA, wild week in the GA scene for North America especially, and people were going at each other's necks. Basically, Censor was talking about like, guys only GA to benefit themselves. They don't GA to make the game better. We should just follow pro GAs. That's kind of his point. Where are you at with the whole GA debate at this point? It's getting a little wild.
I mean, I think they should be following pro GAs, but amateurs are also playing in tournaments before the pros even are. It's like some GAs the pros have could end up changing back, like, because some of the pros, they don't even know for sure what they're going to do. They're still trying things, and the amateurs gonna have to come up with something. So I don't totally blame the amateur scene, but I think once the pro GAs are set, just follow the pro GAs.
Yeah.
True.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I just think they're in a weird state right now where they're like trying to figure this all out, and they've already played 2 cups and then scouting series, and so I don't know. I feel like it's hard because, you know, there's like debates, you know, whether like GA should even be allowed, but then the scouting or the challenger series is separate. It's like, you know, maybe they do want their own, but like at the end of the day, like I feel like uniformity is the best thing for COD, and just like viewership too. Like, you know, if someone's viewing, you know, going between challengers and pro, it's like, you know, why are certain things not being used? Why are streaks not being used? You know,
or if you're just trying to play some GBs for the first time, you're trying to learn the competitive scene, or you want to play some 8s and find your way into the 2Ks, and you're like, what is happening? Like, why am I getting called a scumbag for using this barrel or whatever? You're like, what is happening? Like, there is a massive learning curve right now when it comes to getting into competitive COD, and like, I'm a little worried that it's going to scare people off. I mean, again, there is a balance though, because the developers have to meet in the middle somewhere. And I kind of talked about this on Twitter today, but the first CDL rule set was released on November 23rd, which is basically a month from, you know, when this podcast is going to come out tomorrow. So there hasn't been an update to the official rule set since then. And so, like, as of right now, like things like Molotovs, jammers, tac rifles, Cartel is still a competitive map. Where like the pros haven't played Cartel in the past month at all. So it's like, how haven't we updated even the basic things in the CDL rule set? Like, the CDL's got to come through and officially ban those things. And then we can have the debate about what else needs to actually get done here.
It almost seems like the CDL is just going to wait until we like even put like a ranked playlist until
we get like to like middle of January. But like, bro,
I know.
Well, here's the thing too. Well, the pros are not solidified on what those GAs are even going to be. Right. I mean, there's some things that are like kind of set in stone,
like,
but like
the Molotovs and stuff like that,
like streaks as well. Like, they're not for sure what number that's going to be at, if like they're even going to keep them and all that stuff. So
but
like,
again,
things
if
like that.
the CDL gave them a deadline, like, okay, GAs need to be decided by now, or like, we need things that can officially be added to the rule set by this date. Tell us, and then we will add them. Otherwise, things are going to be, you know, we're going to have issues. But then maybe it's on the pros because it doesn't affect them if it's not updated. I don't know, but the CDL needs to look out for the amateur scene though, because it's like for us trying to play GBs or playing 8s, like the amount of scumminess that can go on right now with people using thermals and Molotovs and things like that in GBs that are somehow still legal is ridiculous.
Yeah, but CDL can't be changing their rule set every like 2 weeks.
No,
because it looks unprofessional.
Right, but again, like the things like Molotovs, jammers, tac rifles, and like cartel
standard stuff,
should not be in the competitive rule set at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
That's outrageous. So that's my biggest issue, is that those things should be immediately changed, and then there needs to be a lot more clarity on what the GAs are going to look like and how that like chain of command, is going to work. Tony Flame came out, which is again like one of the developers from Treyarch, like the lead, kind of the spokesman for the whole development team. Yeah. And he came out on and posted on the competitive COD subreddit. Mm-hmm. It's got almost 1,000 upvotes at this point. It's been out for like just for a handful of hours now. And he basically came out and said like it's going a little crazy. Like, trust me, we're here for you guys. We want this to be right. But it was kind of almost like we're working on this. Mm-hmm. By the time the CDL launches, it'll be good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like, oh my word, we're already a month into the game, and the competitive rule set is like almost unplayable right now if you're playing on game battles. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so bad, and there's so many people that you're just using thermals, using all these stupid things. Like, literally, Isaac and I were playing a GB, they're using Molotovs. Yeah. Like, you've got to be kidding me. We're playing GBs right now, and they're throwing Molotovs at us. Yeah. Like, what is this world? And so, like, that is the type of stuff that just pisses me off. And it's like, if the CDL is making the excuse like, oh, it'll be fine in a month, but like it throws all the amateurs under the bus, and then we have all this drama in the end scene because the CDL isn't taking care of it. So it's like, that drives me crazy. Yeah, that drives me absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, like that they're kind of just saying, okay, like just live through this craziness until the CDL starts. Like,
Yeah, it'd be nice if they had like a team that focuses solely on the challengers scene. So that gets more help, especially when it comes to rule sets and stuff. Because right now, all of it's obviously on the pro league, but if there had more dedication to the challenger scene, just like a small team that can make quick changes and are more flexible, that would be nice.
Yeah, for sure. Like, at least even if they're like just like intermediate changes to like hold people over for like a few weeks, like that would be very, very nice. Yeah.
Like a figurehead of the challenger scene, like somebody who just can be like that guy, almost like the commissioner of the challenger scene, like just that boss.
The problem is, at the end of the day, GAs are there's no way to regulate them outside of the like. It's such a thing of it's like so ingrained in the culture of Call of Duty at this point. Like somehow people have been trained that everyone must follow the GAs at all times, and if you break them, you will never see a game of practice against anyone who's decent. Yeah, and so it's just like, it's crazy how much social pressure there is there.
Yeah, it's weird
and it's wild. But I mean, back to Tony Flame. I mean, shout out for him even communicating with us. Yes. He didn't have to do that. So
yeah, this is more than we've ever received.
He said there's a pretty big like basically like, I see a lot of chatter on here about GAs going overboard recently in quotes. There's a pretty big misconception about what that all means. I care about this community deeply and would like to help you all understand what's going on a little bit deeper, even if I can't tell you everything just yet. And he talks about how there's a ton of content and changes from previous years, and that it's hard to manage right now at the beginning of a launch. And there's a lot of feedback coming back from the pros, blah, 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 blah. And then so basically he's like, we're getting a ton of feedback from the pros, and we are looking at some new ways to solidify the official sanctioned content for the CDL, which we will talk more about next year, and working closely with the players and their insight on what those rules will look like. So he did say next year, as in January. Yeah. I'd imagine. Well, I hope.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
It's got
he doesn't mean a literal year.
For what that means specifically, look for new ways to solidify the officially sanctioned content. Not exactly sure what that means.
Yeah.
Ranked play, what weapons, what maps we're getting, all those things. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the OpTic podcast, but they were talking about having maps that go from game to game that are always in COD for competitive, which again we've talked about a lot, which would be fantastic. And all those things. And Hex, and in ranked play, they talked about ranked play on that podcast, and Hex said, I'm not even sure if we're gonna get it. And that's from Hex.
Jeez.
So he has heard nothing.
Yeah.
He literally said, I'm not sure if we're gonna get it. And Scump was like, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
I think we're gonna get it.
I mean, based off what Vonderhaar said, how do we not get
I was going to say, like Vonderhaar's whole thing, like, replying to Scump was, like, pretty, like,
but, like, Scump
trust
doesn't
us.
even think we're going to get it.
I know.
I mean,
so
Vonderhaar said they're working on it, so, like...
Right. But, like, if...
I trust
I don't know. I mean, that's so weird that Hex would say that, because Hex knows Vonderhaar. He can literally text Vonderhaar.
Yeah.
Like, what? That scares me a little bit, at least. That if he's heard nothing on this, if he heard something, he would say nothing.
Yeah.
But that means he's heard absolutely nothing, and he's saying something.
Mm-hmm.
And he's risking getting fined by the CDL to say this. I mean, that means something.
Maybe, yeah.
So that at least worries me a little bit.
A little bit.
Last year, we got ranked play on January 30th, I think is what it was. Or not last year. I mean, in Black Ops 4.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. It was a little discouraging to hear that coming from Hex.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, do you want to skip kind of on down here to our bold predictions?
Let's do it.
And make that happen? Basically, that was all it. Do you at all want to talk about this formal thing? Did you read up on that at all? Is it nothing?
This is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna defend my man, Formal.
Is this nothing?
It makes no. So, someone on Twitter. Long story short, someone on Twitter claimed to have lent Formal $1,000.
This guy is a pro MLB player.
Okay. So he claimed
who plays games with the pros a lot.
Okay.
Supposedly, I haven't confirmed this. But that was from Reddit.
Claimed to have lent Formal $1,000, and then Formal has yet to repay.
Which Formal told him in quotes, "I got you in 2 days."
Yeah.
And it's going on 2 months, and I still haven't seen that 1K. This tweet was deleted almost immediately after, but Clay replied, which exposed the tweet.
Yeah.
So Clay replied, "This can't be real, LMAO."
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, "What's going on with Formal? Does he have a gambling addiction?"
Here's my thing: is like,
is he? What's going on?
Everyone literally on Reddit hopped on it and was like, you know what? Formal needs to stop this right now.
Formal
this is
has
disgusting.
a gambling addiction. This is horrible.
Wow,
like,
people are taking leaps.
Yeah, people are taking
seriously.
massive leaps.
Here's the thing. Think about the money coming in for Formal right now.
Like,
I would believe it if he was retired from Call of Duty and like partly streaming. He is getting Twitch money. He's got his contract from OpTic.
Yeah.
He's got sponsorships. He does not need $1,000. And like if he did,
people are like, wow. I mean, like people are basically saying like he didn't repay the money because he's broke.
It's not because he's broke.
If he's
not broke.
If he's broke, then he does have a gambling problem.
But
there's no way he's broke. And so at the end of the day, it's just Formal's Formal. The dude just kind of does his thing.
I know.
He probably forgot. Because let's be honest, $1,000 is nothing to him.
If he even took the money,
if that's even a thing, it could have just been a joke.
It could have been a joke.
Troll.
He deleted the tweet, so who knows? It's probably not even worth mentioning. But don't get your pants in a bun.
I will stand Formal.
Oh yeah, we'll stand Formal for sure. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's move on to our bold predictions. Let's play this drop and let's make it happen, baby. I am hyped. All right, let's get this.
Bold predictions.
I'm gonna make a fun drop for this one. I don't know what it's going to be, but we need some good movie reference for this one.
Ooh,
or something.
Bold predictions.
Yeah, there you go. Just have that be the drop.
Yeah.
Bold.
Whoa. All righty, boys. Here we go. Bold predictions. So how we're gonna do this? We kind of we're working around how we wanted to do this kind of thing. So we're honestly gonna do the bold predictions more like a what are the odds? Because we're like, do you really want to make the bold predictions? Be like, oh, I believe this, but obviously you don't because it's a bold prediction. Like that's kind of the point. But so we're gonna do it like, what are the odds? We're all gonna throw out a bold prediction out there, and then the other two people are gonna kind of grade the odds, and then the person who gave out that bold prediction kind of give their final thoughts on it and kind of defend it as well.
Yeah.
So who wants to lead us off? Rex, you want to lead us off with a bold prediction?
Sure. Let me look through here.
So again, we haven't looked through these. We all kind of wrote down a few, and then we're gonna just throw them out there. The other two people haven't thought about this at all,
throw them out there.
So it might have to kind of process some things. So whoever throws it out there, maybe like defend it a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe say why you think this is in theory possible, and then we'll kind of rate it or whatever. So we'll go from there.
So I guess I'll kind of do a T-ball one here.
Okay.
So I think possibly in my heart somewhere.
Again, bold prediction.
LAG will be better than most people think they're going to be.
What does that mean?
I think they could end up being a top 5, top 6 team.
LAG.
Top 5. Will you go top 5 with your bold prediction? We had to settle on a hard line here.
Why am I being told what I have to put this? This is my prediction.
Get the lamp.
Top 5, top 6 team. Top 5, top 6? I think top 6.
Okay,
like
we'll go top 6. where are you at with this? I mean, like, how? I mean, like,
So I think because
give me
again,
why it could happen. Why could this happen?
well, 3 players on
Let
this
me know.
team already they won champs in World War II.
Yep.
Evil Geniuses,
Yep.
Apathy, Assault, and Silly.
Last 4v4 game.
Yep.
Last 4v4 game. Apathy, as we know, and I still believe, can be a beast when he needs to. He goes donk mode, as Krim would say.
Hell yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
I feel like Apathy just has that spark. Sometimes he has it, sometimes he doesn't. I think Silly can play a good OBJ role. I think Silly does have a good mind about him.
Yeah.
Assault, as we know, can gun. And Vivid, and people are kind of maybe underrating Vivid because of last year. But he was the best player on that team last year.
There is something to say. So this is my thought with this team. There is something to say. Vivid in S&D last year was really good. I mean, he had like a 1.1 something KD in S&D, even though they weren't a good S&D team.
Mm-hmm.
And he was running an SMG half the time, running like on Ramaz or whatever it was. Like, he played a pretty good S&D year. He was not good in respawn. So my thought is if he plays with some veterans who know this game and how it plays and those types of things, slow him down a little bit, rein him in, I could see the argument for this being possible. So when it comes to our game, what are the odds? I do kind of want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
But I might put it at like a 35% chance that LAG is a top 6 team.
My actual percentage was 42%.
42.
42%.
So, I mean, there's a world where this team could be very good at
Yes.
S&D.
Yeah.
I think they could be very good at S&D.
I think they could do really well in respawn.
Yeah. Here's my problem is
And Silly was going off on the timeline. He believes in him.
my problem is Apathy. I haven't seen much from him in the past.
He flashed at points last year, though.
He flashed. But
Apathy can, if he
Daddy
has
App, dude. Daddy App.
yeah,
a good environment, Apathy can soar.
if Apathy
Daddy App.
if Daddy App can show that he can be like the top slayer in this team,
Yeah.
then yeah, they there's a good chance they will be top 6.
That'd be cool, man. I'd be hyped. I mean, I got my LHE hoodie, baby. I'd be rocking it all
There you
year.
go.
Let's go.
We always talk about the intangibles and all. And we always talk about the intangible Clayster, Crim6.
Yeah. They got the leadership there.
But like, Silly's been in the game really long time.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare.
Apathy.
Apathy have been around for a long. Apathy's won 2 world championships.
And Assault has been around for a while now at this point, too.
Yeah, and then Vivid's like kind of going to be their young
Yeah.
gun.
Yeah. I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. What is your odds?
I mean, I think I'm sitting with you guys. I can
42 is pretty
40
high, dude. That's pretty
42
high.
is kind of high, but yeah,
I thought I was being bold with 35.
I would say like a 37%.
Oh, right in the middle. Okay. All right.
I
All
like
right.
that.
That's fun. Well, all right, Sam, throw out our next one. I thought that went well.
Mm-hmm. OpTic Chicago
Uh-oh.
will not be a top 4 team. This current roster will not be a top 4 team by the end of the year.
I
That
mean,
begs
I
the
think at this
question.
point, there's a pretty, that's a decent chance.
Yeah.
I mean, top 4 is a pretty high line. I feel like if you said top 6, I'd be like, whoa. Top 6
Okay,
is pretty
top
low.
5.
Well, here's the thing.
Top 5,
Who's
okay.
who'd go third in that line?
I mean, that's what I'm
Mutineers?
saying. This could be because certain teams are really good, or it could be because they are not. Which in my mind, that creates a lot of variables for it being very possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, what are the odds they are a top 5 team versus they aren't a top 5 team? I said the odds are pretty decent that they're not a top 5 team. I would put it like at 40%. 40%.
And like
40%.
Who do you? Okay, so if they're not top 5, who's that 4th place pick then? Who's your 3rd
Well,
and
it
4th team?
could be Rocker, LA
Florida.
Thieves, Mutineers, New York. Any of those teams could make a run.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's this roster
London,
too.
who knows about London? Like there's so many dark horse teams, and if LAG makes a play, who knows? I mean, there's some really good Toronto. I mean, they were
Yeah.
really good.
But they got some all-stars on the OpTic roster. Like Dashy, Envoy.
But again, we've seen the potential for it to implode. I don't think it will. But I don't know, man.
yeah.
By the end of the year, I mean, we've seen that they've usually been better at the beginning of the year, most of the time, and right now they're kind of struggling.
Want to hear my odds?
Struggling, quote
struggling.
unquote. Like there's
Again, don't hear what I'm not saying here, OpTic fans. They're not struggling. They're just not like a dominant top 2-3
like
team
we
right
kind
now.
of expect.
They're,
yeah.
I mean,
they're
but
not.
again-
They're not a tier 1 team.
I've seen a lot of OpTic fans say, well, they beat Empire in this one. Which, okay, they did. So, again, if extrapolating over the next few weeks, they could be just fine. So,
Want to hear
I'm
my
going
odds?
to go 40.
50%.
Whoa!
50%.
You're at a 50-50 right now.
I
The
am.
top 5?
I am.
You're really lacking confidence.
I know, and it's very sad. But
What's the... Okay, why? What's right now is the reason? Is it the Dashy complex?
It's the Dashy complex. It's when I wish Dashy was not the one that got added to this team. And then also if you remember, I feel like what drove them last year was like playing LAN against Ellis. Like they wanted that.
They
like,
wanted it
in their face. They wanted to like beat them. Now it's all online for sure.
right.
You're adding Dashy to this, and it seems like Envoy might be the only
Interesting.
person really wanting it.
Man, I mean, I do agree that there were maybe like in theory better options. Like, but I don't know if they had better options. Like that's really the thing. Okay, yeah, all right. I can get behind. I'm not gonna say 50. Again, I'm gonna stick with 40. I'm gonna stick with 40.
Bold.
Yeah.
40 feels high.
It does feel a little
bold,
high, and I
bold.
feel
Could you
uncomfortable
imagine
saying that.
Scump and
But
Formal not as a top 5 team at the end of the year heading into champs? And champs could be on land.
I mean, what do they even do after that? Do you think that's when they retire?
I mean,
probably.
if Scump's not a top 5 team, he retires. He retires.
Yeah, probably. He's already talked about it. He already said this might be his last year,
And if
no
we're
matter
heading, and if
what.
we're heading into Modern Warfare 2019 remastered, basically for next year, potentially what the rumors have been hearing, like basically another Modern Warfare.
Yuck. Oh.
I mean, Scump's out.
Ugh.
If they're not good, and we're heading into a Modern Warfare game,
Yeah.
he's out.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's crazy. Wait, what was your percentage? Did you give one?
No, I didn't give one. I mean, if they're gonna not be a top 5 team, I don't know, 35%. I mean, I'm low on them too, I thought, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm like 50% low. Like,
Bold.
'cause I'm not that high on these other
bold.
like high teams either, but
Wait, so what was your final prediction?
35.
35. Okay. All right.
Hey,
Here's,
Shue.
here's mine. I thought it was a fun one.
Yeah.
Bold prediction. The Krig, the XM4, and the AK-74U will not even be used at COD Champs.
Wow.
not the Krig?
All
AK-7
three
for
guns
you.
won't even be used
Like
at
XM4.
G8 or just because they're bad?
either way.
Interesting.
I
They
mean,
could be nerfed to oblivion.
I
We've
mean-
seen it before.
Yeah, due to Treyarch. Treyarch likes to nerf things, so
Vesper.
Vesper.
Yep.
What else do we got?
I
Remember how
say
good the Man of War was for a while, and then
Man
they got
of War.
nerfed. I mean, in BO4 there weren't very many nerfs, but in previous CODs there were a lot, and we've already seen them nerf the absolute hell out of the FFAR.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if you're thinking at COD Champs, I don't think so, because usually they'll nerf and then they'll kind of revert back in a way by just nerfing something else. I'll give that like a
What about Black Ops
20%. One of those guns is definitely going to be used.
2? Black Ops 2, what was, I don't didn't really
MSMC.
follow it. Was it like
No,
nerfed?
It was mostly.
Was there any, was the Spitfire nerfed? Or is the Spitfire? No,
No,
I
not
think-
the Spitfire. That's a Scorpion.
Scorpion.
It may have been nerfed a little
Oh,
bit,
no.
but yeah,
But
there was less
Krig,
nerfs back then
XM4 and AK-74 will not even be used.
at COD Champs. Yeah,
Man.
And I mean, this is a bold.
So
Bold.
basically, you're saying
Right.
Bold.
See, this is-
AK-47
I was
and
going-
MP5.
With my ideas, I
MP5.
was aiming for like lower
Maybe
Oh,
Milano.
yeah.
amounts of percentages.
I'm going to
Yeah,
give
Milano, new guns. They could add in new guns
Yeah.
that end up getting added into the rotation at some point. I don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
going to give this a 15% chance.
I'm in the same
Okay.
boat as Sam. 15%.
I was going to go around 10% chance,
Mhm.
maybe a little bit lower. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not real, but interesting
bold.
bold prediction.
It's
Yeah,
bold.
it is.
It's not like it's impossible.
Yeah. I thought it was a fun one. All right,
Yeah.
Rex, you're up.
All right, let me take a look here. Okay, here's one. Bold prediction: Gunless won't perform as well as people are thinking he will.
What does that mean? We need a hard stat line. here.
I mean, a hard stat line.
Gunless will be benched again.
I think.
Is that what you're saying?
Is this what you mean?
I mean, it's more of like. I mean, it's hard to give like a hard stat line, but I feel like people are really
Can
always.
you give like a KD?
Like 0.8?
That would be real. That would be bad. I mean, he had a 0.97 last year, something like that, and 0.99.
I mean,
KD's a very relative stat,
It is.
but like,
It is.
I could
really just
see
did 2 videos on this the past 2 days.
Yeah.
a world where Gunless is benched. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that would be horrible for his career.
You want to know something pretty crazy?
Is that on your list as well?
It's on my list. Gunless being benched.
Dang. Okay. Well, I want to hit. Okay. Well, I guess
here's the thing. Gunless. It's like he gets benched every
Right,
year, or
yeah, yeah.
something happens with his teams every
play it
year.
out.
Now he's on a team where we think, okay, he's like this Rise World War II vibe thing going on. And like, this is the team he was the most, I guess you could say, successful on.
He asked to play with Looney. He like said he wanted to. Made it
Yeah,
happen.
but he wanted to play with Arcitys, who was like his best friend, and he wanted to play with, you know, and so now
his track record over the past few years has not.
and
been
then he got
good.
on OpTic, who's like everyone's team with Arcitys, who's like his best friend, and then
He was
that
with,
didn't
he was
even
with
work
Formal
out.
on Luminosity in
Formal
World War
Luminosity,
II.
and that kind of, you know, fell apart.
I mean,
Yeah.
BO4.
So
there's some
things
bad
tend to
blood there.
happen, and we know Looney and him can have like that same mentality, and like they get really, really, I guess, aggressive with each other. And Octane throwing that in the mix, Octane can kind of take anything, and he's going to be like the all-star player. Octane won't be dropped. And then, but Gunless, I could see something happening there where he's benched.
And remember too, Gunless or Octane, excuse me, last year
Didn't
was
even
like,
want to
didn't
play
even
with
wanna
Gunless
play
at
with
the beginning of the
Gunless.
year.
Yeah.
He's like, no way. And then he was like,
Mhm.
I'm in.
Yeah.
That was crazy. You're right.
You want to
All
know?
right.
You want to know a bold percentage? 63% chance.
Whoa!
Okay, this is actually this becomes a bold prediction for you.
So you're like, this is probably going to happen. Okay.
My bold prediction is that's going to happen. 63%.
Wow. I mean, I feel like Seattle will end up making a roster change.
Really? I wouldn't put it over 50% for roster change.
I think someone's going to end up, if they're not, I mean,
So you
if
really-
I'm being
you-
honest,
I mean,
another
you-
bold prediction. I don't think Seattle's going to be very good this year.
Oh,
still.
interesting. See, I had a Seattle related one as well.
But anyway, I see Gunless getting benched. I see Priestahh getting benched before Gunless.
I mean,
But it depends
Seattle
what vibes
has
they
the
want.
largest range of outcomes out of probably any team.
Yeah.
They could be the best team in the league.
Yeah.
They could
The
be
worst.
trash.
Yeah,
worst
exactly. And if they're trash, that
That
what
hurts
happens to
Gunless's-
some careers here?
That hurts
That's-
Octane. That hurts Octane stock a lot.
That hurts Octane. Like
But I
2
don't
years
think
in a row.
I think Octane could still get a team, but like think a
yeah,
player
but
like
no,
Looney.
No,
Looney's the one I'm
stats well.
worried
Looney,
about
Priestahh,
most.
and Gunless, really.
Yeah,
all
all
three
of
of
them.
them.
All of them.
If,
I
that-
thought
if this team
Priestahh
is
was
the,
going
if
to
this team is the
retire.
worst team in the league,
Octane could just stat again and save his stock, and then you're benching Looney.
what are you gonna do,
Gunless
bro?
and Priestahh.
That would be terrible.
Yeah.
That'd be terrible.
But they didn't do that last
okay,
year.
No.
percentage wise, I'm not 60. What the?
63%.
That's pretty high.
Bold,
That's
bold,
higher than
bold.
mine. This is basically Sam's bold prediction. I was going to
I'll
say
give
like
it, I'll think it,
42.
oh wow! I was gonna give it like 16%.
Really?
Gunless getting benched.
Gunless is no, it's not gonna happen. Not again.
I think somebody's getting
Really?
benched on the
16%
Seattle
chance.
roster.
I'm pretty bullish on the.
History repeats itself.
I'm pretty
bro.
bullish on the Surge.
Oh,
I am.
Really?
I believe in
Weird.
this team.
that's strange.
Can I skip ahead of you real quick? Because I'll do mine then.
Fine.
The Surge, we can go over this quick. We just
Yeah.
talked about it. Mine was the Seattle Surge will win 2 majors.
There's only like what,
What?
5 majors?
There's 5 majors.
That is bold.
I don't think
bro.
it's going to happen.
Well, that's what I'm
Two?
saying. See, again, I went for low percentage.
Yeah, you
Like
did.
10%.
Jeez,
That seems
5%.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
maybe.
I would give it like. I think 10% is pretty bold. For anyone to win 2 is pretty tough, especially
Yeah.
for Surge.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you literally have FaZe, Empire, OpTic, Thieves.
Right. I mean, you have
Mutineers.
there's 8 contender-y feeling teams.
Yeah, and then for Seattle, win 2 of them.
Yeah.
5% max.
Okay, I'm changing mine from 10. I'm going to 5. 4
I
or
was
3.
gonna go
4.
like 13. I was gonna like right in there. I was gonna like
13.
13%.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
again, like you said, the largest range of outcomes. They could be an amazing team.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
I kind of hope they are because it will
It'd be
prove
cool.
the whole veteran thing and
It'd be really cool.
being smart about COD.
Like back to a more methodical game that's a little bit slower paced than
yeah.
Mhm.
you know,
a team
before.
like Empires and FaZe in there.
Right. They're
good
doing just fine.
luck.
Yeah, exactly. So
it'd be
all right,
cool.
Sam, back to you.
Okay, here we go. Neptune
Oh,
will get
here
on
we
the starting
go.
roster
Oh, on a starting roster.
Probably for Seattle.
by the end of the year.
Interesting. So Neptune's the Halo Pro who played with Parasite at the first Challengers Cup, and then Parasite was dropped, and they played with that Blast team, and now they're all broken up again.
Mhm.
So
I don't
But-
even know where he is.
I don't-
Neptune's
I don't
on
know
a
where
team now.
Neptune
now.
is.
is really. I mean, he looked good that first one. He looked decent in the second one.
Mhm.
And he can only get better from here. So
He's
How
a
worried is
Halo
that?
guy.
he's a Halo guy. I
Halo
mean, there's
guy.
a decent chance because he has an upside
Mhm.
that someone could take the shot on him. We saw it already with a handful of guys in the past year and a half. So
Yeah.
I don't know, thoughts. Rex, you pull the trigger first. What's your percentage here?
I'll say, I mean, it really depends how much better he does in these challengers going forward. I could see him getting a sub spot. I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty high. I'd be 48% he gets a sub spot.
Okay.
A starting spot, 25. 25% gets a starting spot.
That's pretty high.
That's little. I'm like 25, but
I'll go with like you just said. Do you say starting spot?
Starting spot.
Yeah, that's pretty high. I would go 17%. 17%. I don't think it's pretty likely. If it's gonna, I mean, if he gets signed by the right team, it increases the chances dramatically. But since we don't even know, who knows if he's gonna get signed at this point? I feel like 17% is pretty.
You got to think of the teams who make substitutes. So Seattle, we know they pretty much don't pick up new players. So probably a team that doesn't have a lot of money.
Depends how much they paid these guys, but yeah.
Yeah, and then Paris, they don't ever make changes.
I mean,
which
if they paid
should.
Enable that much, is what we heard. Then no wonder they didn't make any roster.
They
changes.
didn't pay Enable that much.
There's no way.
chance. I don't believe that for a minute. I am 1% on those odds. You kidding me? It's like that's probably more than like Krim and them.
Absolutely. It's way more than that.
Like, there's no chance Enable got paid $500,000. He's never even won a champs before. Like,
anyway,
maybe he
did.
did.
No, he was in a champs final.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
what's your prediction? Well, you said 20.
25.
25. What's your prediction?
22%.
Okay, you're going in the middle as well. Okay, all right. I mean, I guess I'll go again.
Didn't you say 40? I thought you said 40.
Did I? I don't know. Maybe I did.
Okay,
All
either
right,
way.
Between 20 and 40.
I thought for sure you said a higher number.
Maybe I did.
Okay, so I'll go. I mean, since we kind of had like a lot of player related ones, I'll go another like meta, like a game related one.
Yeah, there you go.
Bold prediction. We will have 4 new maps in the competitive pool
Jeez.
by champs.
Holy.
4 more, not counting raid. 4 more.
That
new
is
not counting
that is
raid.
bold.
maps. 4.
What has been the most so far?
Advanced
any
Warfare
COD?
had like multiple.
How many
They
World
did.
War II have?
Just one.
Was it just the one?
It was just Valkyrie, right?
Valkyrie,
Right.
the one that was the
Detroit.
Advanced
Mhm.
Warfare.
Or like a reverse of Detroit, or
Detroit.
inverted or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So is it like just 1 or 2 so far have ever been added into the competitive
at most.
But
rotation?
we've never had this where we only had 8 multiplayer maps.
Yeah.
And we're currently only going to have 4 hardpoint maps, and
Yeah.
one of them is Checkmate.
True.
And Treyarch's pretty involved, and they seem even more involved this year.
So 4, not including raid.
Yeah, we could do. I'd be okay with moving the line down to 3 if we want. I'll move the line down to 3. So
3.
I think 4 is like a 5% chance probably.
Yeah,
Let's
3.
do 3. 3 new maps by champs, not counting raid.
They literally could all be remastered maps too.
Right, that would be the most likely option. Yeah. Because I don't think the pros would probably add in another map otherwise.
All right, do you think there'll be like throwback maps or new maps?
I mean, it could be, it could be
Anything?
Summit, it could be Standoff, it could be, Nuketown for S&D. I don't know. It could be a remaster. It could be Arsenal. It could be anything from BO4. It could be anything from BO3. You could bring in like Stronghold with like the wall run situation.
I don't
or
think they're
anything
gonna
like that.
do like jetpack maps with zip lines. I know you guys talk about having the zip lines.
It'd be awesome.
I don't see that happening.
Arsenal would be cool to.
And I think if you
put
take a
Arsenal could
zip
be
line, you're stupid because the noise that it's going to make, and it's probably not going to be very fast. And
Wall running though, you could hear wall running.
yeah, but you have more control over the wall running and movement. Where zip line, you're really just stuck going
Yeah,
forward, and
for
they're going to
sure.
hear you
Agreed.
just turn and shoot straight. But I'll give that like 20%. No, I'll go higher. 35%
And
chance.
that's pretty high. That's pretty high, honestly.
Yeah,
3 new maps, I could see it.
That would be awesome. I
you-
would be so excited, bro.
you
Oh
you
my
bring up a good
goodness.
point that this is a unique situation.
Yeah.
However, I think I'm capped at 30, but
Like 1 feels like a guarantee. Like I feel like we're gonna have at least
Absolutely.
1 new map.
yeah.
Will we have a second though? That I don't know. Will pros be about that? I'm not sure.
Mhm.
If it's the right one, Standoff comes back, it's in the competitive rotation.
Mhm.
That's a guarantee. So like maybe Summit, if it came back, maybe would be a hardpoint map.
I would
Maybe.
love Summit back, even though they remastered it for
Like
Black
if
Ops 4.
Slums came back, would it be a hardpoint map? I don't
Ooh,
know.
I
The
love
spawns
Slums
could be a
too.
little janky with this game.
Could be.
But yeah, like it just kind of depends on what they bring back.
Mhm.
If they bring back Arsenal, I think the pros would be hyped.
Yeah.
But again, are the spawns good? Who knows? Like
Yeah.
that's always a question with that type of stuff. If they're
Yeah.
the exact same, then maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Or if is frequency coming back, then that could be a play.
Ugh,
So,
yuck. Please no.
so yeah, I don't know. Final percentage.
26.
I'll give it 21. 21. All right, Rex, you're up.
Okay.
You want to do one more round?
One more round.
All right.
I have one, but I just don't know if it's a hot enough take. I mean, maybe some people know this. Maybe I don't think Hydra. I think Hydra could end up being subbed out or dropped.
Okay, Hydra is benched. Or never even played.
Benched. I mean, he'll end up playing and then won't do well. Then he'll be benched, and someone else will come back.
Okay,
in.
so the odds that Hydra is not starting by what time of the year?
Halfway through the year. Even maybe even the second minor that's played, I could see him.
Or second major, you mean?
No. By the first major, he'll be subbed out.
Wow.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
I can see that
Interesting.
happening.
So
Man.
if Hydra not playing by the first major, which could be end of January or mid-February.
Basically,
Or probably
Hydra's
mid-February.
Hydra being a
February for
bust.
sure.
Yeah, February would be what it is.
Interesting.
Okay. Sam, thoughts?
There's a lot of hype around Hydra.
Lots of hype around Hydra.
The one thing that is could it be a technical issue that he never gets to play?
Right. I mean, that's like the loophole of this question.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I think that, coronavirus
Yeah.
makes sure he's never
So-
going to get back.
Assume he can play. He's gonna be able to play.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
We're taking that. So he's for sure playing in our minds. I feel like they would not bench
Not that
him.
fast.
Not that fast. If anything,
If this was by champs, I would put it above 50%.
really.
If it was by champs. If it's by mid-February, I'll go 15%. I think they would wait till at least the end of the second major to make a change.
Yeah.
Although that is a lot of time and if you're not doing
That's
very
a lot
well,
of points.
It's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
So I don't know, maybe not. But
Mhm.
at the same time, if you only go after the first major, that could be 6 matches played. You're gonna bench him after 6 matches.
Mhm.
I mean, assuming they're
They
probably
scrimmed a
going to
lot.
be picking Asim up as their sub,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and Asim can do his job and give
Mhm.
them,
True.
can perform like they expect
I'll
them
go
to.
25%. That's the highest I'm going though.
I think 10%.
Oh, you're going pretty low.
Yeah. I just don't
You believe in Hydra?
I honestly believe in Hydra, and I think that Hydra needs to he needs to, and he will be like the X factor for this team.
Oh,
He has to be.
I think Clay will believe in him over time that he'll get better and pull a
Yeah.
Shotzzy or something.
Exactly. I truly believe they're putting a lot
I mean,
of
that's
stock.
what he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine the pressure.
They're gonna give him
Yeah.
time. I'm going back down to 15%.
There you go.
I was going to say 15% as well.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Cool.
Sam, fire away.
All right. So here we go. I thought it was gonna be
I like the energy in your eyes.
I thought it was gonna be a 0% from both of you, but
Okay.
John will step in as a sub.
Well, playing or will be signed. Will be signed or is playing starting.
Oh well, signed as a sub. For
Signed
a
as a
team.
sub.
Yes.
Oh,
So
okay.
picked up as a sub spot.
That's not
Okay.
a 0% chance. That's by no means zero.
I just know there's a lot of people that are saying John are chalked this year, just
Yeah.
pretty chalked.
Well, his time is getting close here at this point.
Yeah.
As a substitute, though, I mean, one team could hold out for him, give him
Mhm.
literally up until the day of the start, January, and then John says, "I'll be good to go by X amount of time.
Mhm.
Let's make it happen." Blah blah blah, and one team pulls the trigger. I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I think the only team I see doing that, 2 teams actually.
Seattle.
I could see Seattle doing that, and I
New
could
York.
see LA Thieves doing that.
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, for sure.
Those
And
2 teams.
New York could do it.
I don't think New York's gonna pick up Asim. I think.
They could pick up a second sub.
But John, I mean, is John even gonna try and play an amateur?
I have no.
I mean,
idea.
if he's good to
I'd
go
assume he would
health-wise.
definitely try to.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't done these first 2 cups.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait.
health wise, he'd have to whatever is going on. So, I mean, I would say it's pretty small chance right now.
Yes.
It's 9%.
Honestly, I thought we'd hear a lot more from him, but we've heard nothing from John.
Yeah,
So.
that's too bad.
Yeah, 5% for me.
Okay, Sam.
Shoot.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go a little bit higher. Gonna go a little bit more optimism.
Yeah. I 12%.
Oh, okay, so you're going. Okay, all right, sounds
Yeah.
good. All right. Oh man, I have 2 really fun ones, but
If John's picked up, it's friendship league stuff.
we'll
I
see.
won't be convinced otherwise.
I might throw
He's
out 2
pretty
here. We'll see how
good.
how
He is
fast
good,
this goes.
but he hasn't been
Let's try
around.
to go through these
And he just-
quickly. I want to do these last.
You're
2.
doing 2? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What are the odds? Bold prediction. Priestahh wins MVP of the CDL.
Priestahh.
Wins MVP of the CDL with the Minnesota Rocker.
8%.
I don't see it happening. No way.
I don't really see it
No
either.
way.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, we've seen how he's now going to have to be a Slayer sub, which he's basically never been in his career.
mhm.
He's only had to play like support roles, entry
Mhm.
roles for teams. he's going to be in a chance to really use all the gun skill he's had and like really go out there and make plays. Him and Attach kind of doing it up there. I mean, it kind of depends. Attach has been more of a Slayer sub in his career, so you could still see Priestahh running the support. We don't really know yet how that's really going to play out. But there is potential there, but it would require the Rocker being very good for him to win the MVP. So that's kind of where the lower percentage comes from. But again, I told you I was going for Grand Slams here.
You are.
Yeah, it's 7%. I'm going even lower. 7%. Priestahh is MVP of champs.
7%, yeah. I mean, that's fairly reasonable.
Because MVP has to win champs.
No, doesn't have to.
You just think he's gonna be that good?
You just have to be in the top probably 3. You have to be in the top 3 or 4. You have to be in the top 4 for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, last year Skies was there. It was a semifinalist. I mean,
no. I was thinking of Krim for some reason. He won
Finals MVP.
Finals MVP
Or Champs MVP.
Champs MVP. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Percentage.
Okay. I had 15%.
Okay.
If his role
That's pretty high.
if his role truly is
Considering how many teams there are out there.
Yeah. If his role is truly main Slayer, I can't see him stepping up to the plate. However, there's so many other players that are in more position for that.
Right.
15% is pretty high, but I think it's
5. I would put like 5. There's like 5 far and away favorites. So I don't think I could reasonably put it higher than like 12% probably.
Yeah. I'm sticking with 8.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna throw out one final one.
Yeah.
Bold prediction. It's not that. This is my least bold one probably. That Arcitys leads the CoD League in KD on the season.
KD. Interesting.
Last year, the leader, I think, was Octane on the year, if I remember right.
So we're assuming ARs are, again, going to be like your
ARs,
kill guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
That Arcitys leads the league in KD.
That's not too terribly bold.
No.
Not as
that's
bold
my
as the
least
others.
bold one. It's my least bold one. But I thought it would be an interesting one because it's like some a kind of way we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I think, again, I mean, there's a lot of options, for a lot of ability for him to sweep up a lot of kills. They could be very, very good. And we all know how talented Arcitys is. And he snipes. He'll be there. He'll like be a sniper in S&D with him and Simp. They'll probably switch that off depending on the map or how they want to play it.
Yeah.
So he's going to have some picks there. I mean, I would go like pretty high, like 28, 29% chance. 29% chance that the Arcitys leads the league in KD.
I'll go with 20%.
Okay.
The one thing would be like you could see Octane doing the stat again where like Octane Slayers aren't going to be as slain as Simp, Abizi,
so he's just eating up kills.
Yeah, so like Octane would have a more prime position to eat up more kills than Arcitys. You know, if Arcitys subs are just doing all the killing
But at the same
already.
time, if FaZe is in a better position,
that's true,
and they're better at getting shots in and making him weaker in a game where you can trade kills. I mean, you don't regen as fast in this game as you did in Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, Rex.
I think I'm gonna go with 35% chance.
Oh wow, pretty high.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on that one.
Okay. Well, I think we can end the pod. We can wrap it up there. I mean, we put Sam out of his misery. He's got to get up early in the morning.
My misery.
He hates being here.
Oh my gosh!
But guys, it's been a blast, Rex. It's been an absolute honor. We're gonna be running it back next week.
Yes,
run
we
it up.
are.
Are we right? Run it up.
Oh.
Run it up.
And that's it for today's podcast, boys. This is the best of 3.
That face.
So, guys, it's been an absolute blast. Like, comment, subscribe, share the podcast. If you guys really enjoyed it. Drop all your comments down below. And drop a review on Apple Podcasts. But as always, guys, I'm your boy, SalvationsElite. To my right is Scorestreaks3. And to our farthest right,
our immediate right this
per
time,
usual, is Rex Shady Nero. And, guys, we will see you next time. We out.